In 1990, Oregon State Trooper Emily Caldwell disappeared without a trace. She was 28, a rising star in the Oregon State Police, known for her tenacity and dedication. Her patrol car was found abandoned on a desolate stretch of Highway 101 near Cannon Beach, engine running, door ajar, and her service weapon missing. No body was ever found, and after a year, the case went cold, leaving behind whispers of accident, suicide, or foul play. 15 years later, in 2005, a discovery at a coastal salvage yard would crack the case wide open, exposing a web of corruption that stretched across the Pacific Northwest. Carlos Rivera had worked at Pacific Coast Salvage in Astoria, Oregon, for over a decade. On a chilly September morning in 2005, with the salty air thick with fog, Carlos was prepping a rusted 1982 Chevy Impala for the crusher. The car, part of a lot from an insurance auction, had sat in the yard for 4 months. Its trunk was stubborn, sealed shut by years of corrosion. Carlos grabbed a pry bar, muscles straining as he forced it open. Inside, he expected the usual debris, maybe a spare tire or forgotten tools. Instead, he found a neatly folded Oregon State Police uniform, pristine despite its age. The name tag read E. Caldwell. Carlos, a lifelong Astoria resident, remembered the headlines from 1990. Emily Caldwell's disappearance had gripped the region, her face plastered across newspapers until the story faded. He called his supervisor, Maria Delgado. "Maria, you gotta see this," he said, voice tight. "I found a uniform in the Impala. Name's Caldwell." Maria dropped her clipboard. "Don't touch it. I'm calling the cops." Within an hour, Detective Laura Kim, a 42-year-old Korean-American veteran of the Astoria Police Department, arrived with 2 uniformed officers. Kim had been a rookie in 1990 and vaguely recalled the Caldwell case. "Mr. Rivera, walk me through it," she said, snapping on gloves. Carlos pointed to the trunk. "I was getting the car ready for crushing. The trunk was jammed, so I pried it open. That's when I saw the uniform, folded like it was brand new." Kim inspected the uniform. The badge number, 3924, matched Emily Caldwell's. No stains, no tears. It had been meticulously cleaned and stored. "Where'd this car come from?" she asked. Maria checked her records. "Insurance auction in Salem, bought in May. Listed as flood damage, but it doesn't look waterlogged to me." Kim bagged the uniform and photographed the scene. "I need the full paper trail on this vehicle, registration, auction details, everything." Then Carlos spoke up. "Detective, there's something else. The trunk liner's been cut. Looks like someone made a hidden compartment." Kim examined the liner. It had been sliced and reattached with small screws, creating a concealed space. Empty now, but faint outlines in the dust hinted at something once stored there. "This is a crime scene now," Kim said. "Call forensics." That evening, the discovery hit the local news. Emily's older sister, Sarah Caldwell, now 45 and a librarian in Seaside, saw the report. Emily had been her hero, a fearless woman who joined the state police to fight injustice. Sarah had always believed Emily was murdered, rejecting the official theories of accident or suicide. She called Detective Kim immediately. "I'm Sarah Caldwell, Emily's sister. I saw the news. What did you find?" "Ms. Caldwell, we're reopening the case. Can we meet tomorrow?" Kim replied. The next morning, Kim met Sarah at the Astoria Police Department. The original case file, 2 thick boxes, sat on Kim's desk. The lead investigator in 1990 had been Detective Harold Vance, now retired. "Ms. Caldwell, tell me what you think happened to Emily," Kim said. Sarah opened a notebook. Emily was investigating something big. She told me she was looking into drug smuggling along the coast, tied to a fishing company. She mentioned a name, Jonathan Pierce. "Who's Jonathan Pierce?" Kim asked. "He was a district attorney in 1990, focused on organized crime. Emily said she had evidence of corruption in his office, but needed more proof before going to her superiors." The original file mentioned nothing about corruption. It focused on Emily's supposed personal issues, stress, a breakup, job pressure. Sarah's face tightened. "Detective Vance ignored me when I brought up the corruption angle. He kept saying Emily was unstable." Kim reviewed the 1990 report. Emily's patrol car had been found with the radio on, no signs of struggle. The theory was she wandered into the ocean or forest and died of exposure. But the uniform's discovery suggested otherwise. "The car's registration traces to a rental company in Portland from 1990, Kim said. "Someone kept that uniform for 15 years. Sarah handed Kim a faded document. Emily had a safe deposit box at Coastal Credit Union. I couldn't access it because I wasn't authorized. It was closed in 1991, but they wouldn't tell me who closed it. Kim made a note. We'll track that down. She turned to the Impala's records. The car came from a defunct rental company, Ocean View Rentals, owned by a shell corporation called Northwest Ventures. The registered agent? Jonathan Pierce. Forensics processed the Impala and found fingerprints on the trunk liner screws, but they didn't match any database. Then Carlos called again. Detective, we found something else. A cassette tape stuck under the back seat, labeled JP meeting June 12, 90. Kim rushed to the salvage yard. The tape, a microcassette, was dated 3 days before Emily's disappearance. The handwriting was precise, protected from the elements. Kim sent it to the lab, her pulse racing. While waiting for results, Kim dug into Jonathan Pierce's past. In 1990, he was an ambitious DA prosecuting drug cases tied to a smuggling ring operating through Astoria's fishing industry. His biggest case, against the Navarro cartel, collapsed when evidence vanished and witnesses recanted. Pierce blamed police incompetence, but he was appointed a state judge in 1991, months after Emily vanished. Sarah called with more. Emily told me she was meeting someone about Pierce a week before she disappeared. She was excited, said she had proof. She also mentioned buying a pocket recorder for interviews. The lab results came back. The tape contained a 10-minute conversation between two men discussing bribes to sabotage the Navarro case. The evidence is too strong, one voice said, clearly Pierce's, recognizable from his courtroom speeches. Lose the shipment records. The witness will back off for $30,000. The other voice, with a faint accent, agreed to handle it. Kim contacted the FBI. Agent Michael Torres arrived in Astoria within hours. If this tape is real, we've got a sitting judge involved in corruption for 15 years, Torres said. We need to verify it and see if Pierce is still dirty. Kim interviewed retired Detective Vance, now 70, at his home in Tillamook. He was cagey. I worked that case hard. No evidence of foul play. Caldwell was stressed, probably walked into the ocean. Did you look into her corruption allegations? Kim pressed. Vance shrugged. Her sister was emotional, throwing around theories. I checked. Nothing there. Who did you check with? I don't recall. It was 15 years ago. Kim wasn't convinced. The original investigation seemed deliberately shallow. She learned Vance retired right after closing Emily's case, with an unusually generous pension. Sarah provided more evidence, an envelope Emily had given their mother, containing financial records and photos of Pierce meeting a man, later identified as Diego Navarro, a cartel lieutenant. The documents showed regular deposits into Pierce's accounts, timed with dismissed drug cases. Then another break. Carlos reported a break-in at the salvage yard. Security footage showed a man in dark clothing searching the Impala. Facial recognition identified him as Robert Klein, a former deputy in Pierce's office, now a private attorney. Klein was arrested with tools for destroying evidence. He offered a deal. I'll talk about the network, but I want immunity. Klein revealed a sprawling corruption ring involving judges, prosecutors, and cops, all taking bribes from the Navarro cartel. Emily had been investigating the entire network, not just Pierce. She had recordings, documents, everything, Klein said. Pierce ordered her elimination. Diego Navarro, the cartel enforcer, was tracked to Tijuana. Facing extradition, he offered to testify for a reduced sentence. In a secure interview, he confessed, I killed Emily Caldwell on June 15, 1990. Pierce told me she had evidence that could ruin us. Vance gave me her patrol schedule. Navarro described pulling Emily over on Highway 101, posing as a distressed motorist. He forced her to a remote logging road, questioned her about her evidence, then shot her and dumped her body in an abandoned quarry. Pierce wanted her uniform kept as leverage, Navarro said. I stored it in the Impala and forgot about it. Navarro led authorities to the quarry, 30 miles south of Astoria. After a grueling search, forensic teams recovered Emily's remains, confirming 2 gunshot wounds to the head. Sarah, devastated but relieved, could finally lay her sister to rest. Pierce and Vance were arrested simultaneously. Pierce, now a state judge, was taken from his chambers in Salem. Vance was apprehended at his home. Both faced charges of conspiracy, corruption, and murder. Vance confessed first, admitting he took $40,000 to misdirect the investigation. Pierce, facing overwhelming evidence, Emily's tape, documents, and Navarro's testimony, agreed to cooperate. He named 18 others in the network, including 2 judges and 5 prosecutors. The ring had manipulated over 200 cases, freeing drug traffickers for millions in bribes. The trials were a media firestorm. Vance received life without parole. Pierce, for his cooperation, got life with a chance for parole after 25 years. Navarro was sentenced to death. The other conspirators faced prison terms ranging from 8 to 30 years. The Emily Caldwell case reshaped Oregon's law enforcement. Kim, promoted to captain, formed an anti-corruption unit in Astoria. The Oregon State Police created the Emily Caldwell Award for officers fighting corruption. Sarah established the Caldwell Foundation, supporting families of murdered officers. The quarry where Emily's body was found became the Emily Caldwell Memorial Park, a site for reflection on justice and integrity. New state laws, dubbed the Caldwell Act, strengthened whistleblower protections. The case inspired a documentary and national reforms, with the FBI adopting Emily's investigation methods for corruption cases. Carlos Rivera, the salvage worker, received a civic award. "I just opened a trunk," he said, "but it brought justice for Emily." 15 years later, at the inaugural Emily Caldwell Memorial Conference, Chief Kim spoke. "Emily's courage exposed a cancer in our system. Her legacy lives in every officer who fights corruption and every reform that protects justice." Emily's headstone, overlooking the Pacific, read, "Trooper Emily Caldwell. She died for justice." Her story became a beacon, inspiring law enforcement to uphold integrity and reminding the world that one officer's sacrifice could change everything.